everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Today Baseball Podcast. This is episode number 116, and today, Dustin Harris, who has gotten off to a hot start in AAA, is going to be joining us. But before we do that, Jeff, you told me you're going to run a special, but it's a personal one, so tell me what you're going to do there.
All right, here's the deal. Since you're watching the podcast, if you haven't subscribed to Rangers Today, and you want to subscribe, which you should, send me an email, jeff@rangerstoday.com, and I will knock 20% off the regular full season price of $60. So for $48, you'll get 12 months of Rangers Today. But you got to email me. I'll set up your account, and then we'll go from there. But look, guys, this thing is growing. We want to build a community. We want you guys who are watching this on YouTube or listening, and wherever your favorite podcast outlet is, join up. All right, let's do this. Let's have conversations. Let's comment on my stories, comment on the podcast. Let's build this thing up. Keep building it up. It's doing real good now, but we want it to be the best. Not just the best podcast. We want it to be the best website. We want to be the source for everybody's Rangers and news. So again, email me, jeff@rangerstoday.com, and we'll set you up. Because we got a lot to talk about. It's been 2 weeks, and golly, there's been a lot to talk about. And
oh my gosh,
yeah.
And you know what, hey guys, also give Jeff and I a follow on Twitter. Especially during the games, you'll get updates on Twitter. Jeff is at @JeffWilson_TXR.
It's on the screen right there.
Yeah, right below. I'm at Recliner Nerd. Give us a follow there. During games, I go to at least one game a series. Jeff goes to all of them that he can. He's going to be on the road some this year. Look, there's only 3 full-time beat writers for the Texas Rangers, the world champion Texas Rangers, and one of them is my co-host on this right here, and it's fun to watch him work. He's been doing this since 2008. He's a professional journalist, and this is great. This is some great, cheap Texas Ranger stuff right here, guys. Join up. It's really important. Hey, and speaking of, this season is now a couple weeks into it. This team has not played bad. They've had a couple of hiccups. They're 7-5, still in first place. Split the series with the split the series with the Astros, which had a couple of mishaps there. But look, this team looks like a team that's going to hang around even with an injury.
Yeah, I think we all knew that. There's still some things getting sorted out. The pitching staff is not firing on all cylinders. I think it's safe to say. I know a lot of people are going to be immediately mindful of Jose Leclerc, who has not had a good start to the season. John, you were there the other night when he lost the lead in the ninth, and David Robertson gave up a home run in the 7th. What do? We go into the clubhouse, and who are the 2 guys just waiting for us? David Robertson and Jose Leclerc. They're accountable. They know they made mistakes. They got to be better. But before everybody goes and starts, demanding the Rangers trade for a closer or get Leclerc out of the role, it's early in the season. All right.
Wow.
It's real early, and this is when pitchers are probably their most susceptible. And still coming out of spring training, probably not where they want to be. Some of them are, some of them aren't, and it's not a Rangers only problem. You look around baseball, and there are closers who are blowing games left and right. The main one is David Bednar, who a lot of people who have listened to this podcast have wanted the Rangers to trade for. He's blown 3 of them, and the Pirates are a good team. So it's not just him. Or Leclerc, it's a lot of guys. I mean, Josh Hader lost a game. He came into a tie game in the 9th against the Yankees and gave up a run, and he was the other guy that the Rangers, that fans wanted the Rangers to get. So it's not just a Jose Leclerc problem. I know that there's still whiplash from last year's terrible bullpen. Josh Spores is injured right now, so that's kind of hurting the back end, but you have David Robertson, a terrific veteran, Kirby Yates, who's been really good, and Jose Leclerc's going to be fine. Yeah, you just keep in mind 162 games, and we're in game 12. Okay, if this were an NFL schedule, 17-game schedule, 12 games is the equivalent of like early in the fourth quarter. So the Rangers are basically in the fourth quarter of their first game of an NFL season.
Exactly, and I said this about Jose Leclerc, and believe me, I understand that that he's already blown a save. He's already given up some runs, and there's some issues. But look at the rest of what he's done. He struck out 2 of the 3 batters in the 9th inning that he gave up the home run, and he walked the guy. The guy's got stuff that gets people out. Right. I mean, when it's going, he sat there and said, I was trying to put the ball up and out. That's what he was calling for, up and out. I brought it across the middle of the plate, up high, and that guy already had 2 home runs. He goes, I missed, and I missed bad, and he took advantage of it.
Yeah,
and it didn't help that he walked, but he sat there and took it, and he told us.
Well, and Evaldi took it for hanging the pitch he hung to Shea Langoliers, who had the 3 home runs. I mean, this was
a splitter, right?
It's these guys make mistakes, and it's going to happen, and you just gotta keep that in mind. The big picture, 162 games. So anyway, but one guy who's not missing is Cody Bradford.
Oh my gosh!
I'm at the ballpark today as we shoot this, and we just talked to Bruce Bochy not long ago before the game, like we do every day. And Bruce Bochy, I've got the quote right here, said kind of like, Cody after the start last night said, I just want to help the team win. If that means when the big dogs are healthy, I've got to go to the bullpen, great. And he was asked, is Cody Bradford a big dog, or can he be a big dog? And Bruce said, well, he is right now. You know how he gets, John. And he said, you throw like that, you're not going to go anywhere. So right now, because Michael Lorenzen is in the clubhouse today. He had a rehab start yesterday. And Round Rock, he's ready to go, to be dropped into the rotation. And the thought is, well, somebody's got to go. It won't happen immediately because the Rangers are in this long stretch of consecutive games. They want to give starters an extra rest by putting in basically going to a 6-man rotation for a week or two. Once that's over with, Cody Bradford is not going to get out of the rotation. He's not going to the bullpen. So you need to watch John Gray and Andrew Heaney. And really, you probably should watch Lorenzen, who's pitched out of the bullpen before.
And he is not just blown away AAA hitters.
Well, he's
working on stuff.
His first 3 innings were good yesterday. His second start was good. I guess the first 3 innings were good yesterday. I wonder about the ABS. He had 5 walks. I wonder about the automatic balls and strikes. Pitchers don't like it. I think hitters really do. So, anyway, something will be happening at the end of this month. But it looks like Cody Bradford, as long as his arm doesn't fall off, is going to stay in the rotation, and he should. He's earned it.
No, you can't argue with it. Right now, he's got 19 innings in 3 starts. I mean, this is a guy that's not going 5 innings. This is a guy that's going at least 6 every start. I mean, wow. Just amazing. I mean, look, you can't do anything but take your hat off to him.
Well, it goes to show you that if you can command your pitches and change speeds, that you're going to have success. He hits his spots. His fastball has just a little late movement that always seems to miss the barrel. I mean, look at the pitching coach's brother won 355 games, I think, in the major leagues, and he never threw above 95. He was in the low 90s, but he commanded the shit out of everything, and he changed speeds. I mean, that's the key to it. And even guys who throw filthy 100-mile-per-hour fastballs, if they have a devastating slider and changeup, they're going to be unhittable. So good for Cody. Good for the Rangers, at a time when the rotation is a question mark, and a lot of people, I think, had him as the number one question mark entering the season. Well, you got some other questions out because Cody Bradford's not a problem.
And let me tell you what you're seeing with Cody Bradford. You're seeing a guy that if he goes out and maybe he doesn't have it, is a guy that's still likely to go 5 innings, maybe give up 3 runs, something like that. He seems like a guy that's not going to get shell-shocked if somebody starts, getting after him, and at least eat a few innings for you on a day that you don't have it all together. He just seems like that guy. That's what good pitchers do in the major leagues. There are going to be days where it's not going, something's not biting, or whatever. You adjust, you do things. Maybe you give up a few runs, but you stay in and you try to help your bullpen out, and you try to stay in for at least 5 innings or 4 or 5 innings, and you go as long as you can. That's what good starting pitching does, because nobody's going to go all season and not at least have a game where it's just everybody's teeing off on you, or you're tipping your pitches, or something's happening.
Yeah, and for a rookie, he's very professional. He goes about his
Absolutely.
business. He prepares. He seems unflappable on the mound, and that's something that they noticed right away about him. The Rangers noticed right away about him last year. So, again, good for him.
And we saw his dad. You saw his dad too.
Yeah. I saw Randy and Randy Bradford, big fan of the show. Yeah. And rangerstoday.com, which you can subscribe to for $5.99 a month or $60 for a year. Or if you send me an email
and get it cheaper.
Jeff at rangerstoday.com. I'll get you a deal for $48. So anyway, Randy Bradford, and he was playing host to Stan Wendzel, Davis's dad. Davis made his debut the other night, so had a chance to meet both of them. Cody and Davis are wonderful friends, and Tuesday night after the debut, they were actually on the field together, taking photos together. Big deal they lived together in spring training. They knew each other in college, obviously at Baylor.
Roommates in college.
Fun story. But yeah, Davis is up. Justin Foskey was on the injured list with an oblique injury. He hurt it swing before he got his first career hit. It's too bad, but it's great for Davis to finally have his opportunity. He was part of the very good 2019 draft class, as it turned out. Josh Young was the first pick, 8th overall. Davis was the Rangers' second pick at 41st overall. Cody Bradford was in the 6th round. Our buddy Blaine Krim was drafted later in the draft. I know I'm leaving guys out. I apologize, but this is it's fun to see these things come to fruition finally. And Davis has had a long road with injuries. He didn't get invited to big league camp in 2023, which I think stung him a little bit. He goes out, he hits 30 home runs, leads the Pacific Coast League, or is tied for the lead. He wants to be better. He knows he can hit for a little bit better average. He had a great spring, back in big league spring training. Wanted to make an impression on Bruce Bochy, and he obviously did. The guy can play great defense at third base, but he can play shortstop, he can play second, he can probably play first in a pinch. He was a catcher in high school, so I mean, I think he could do a lot. So
his at bats the other night were good at bats too. They
were, yeah. And
kids come up and just start swinging at the first pitch. I mean, you're so amped up. You're making your major league debut. He put the barrel on the ball three times pretty well.
Well, it looks like against when the Rangers are facing a left-hander, as they did Tuesday, as they're doing today. I don't know if they will in Houston or not. They're going to face some lefties here, and the way it is set up right now, Bruce Bochy wants to have Josh Smith and Jared Walsh against right-handers, and then against lefties, put Duran at first, as he's done today, and Wendzel at third, and try to give him the best chance. Josh Smith has been great.
Oh my gosh!
Today is the first time he hasn't started since the Josh Young injury, and I know it's hard to believe it's only a week and a day ago, but or I guess a week and 2 or 3 days ago, but it's still pretty fresh, that Josh Young injury. He's supposed to get the cast off and the stitches off tomorrow, but he's still going to be 8 weeks away. But Josh Smith has given the team a real nice lift.
Oh my gosh!
It goes to show when major league players, the bench players, get regular at bats, you see how good they are. It's you see what Jared Walsh has done. He's been really good. And this is going to be the arrangement for probably another week or so. Nathaniel Lowe is going to go on a rehab assignment beginning tomorrow with Frisco. He's going to be built up gradually, kind of like a spring training, a little bit faster than that, but it's not going to be a Corey Seager situation, I don't think, where Nate Lowe sees 2 at bats one day, one the next, and then says he's good. I think the Rangers are going to give him some time. This is an oblique injury. You don't want to mess with those. You want to make sure everything's fine. So far, so good. From what Nate has said, took live batting practice the past 2 days. Went out, ran the bases yesterday. That's always kind of the last thing you do before you go on a rehab assignment. So,
when does this rehab start?
He's going to start it tomorrow at Frisco. So
get out to Frisco, guys.
Yeah, go out to Frisco. If you can't make it down to Houston, Round Rock is at home as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. But so he's trending the right way. And when he gets back, what are you going to do? Jared Walsh he's a veteran bat. He's been productive.
He can't be sent down.
But if third base, I mean, Nate Lowe's going to play first base every day. Jared Walsh doesn't play anything else.
He'll DH.
I don't know. It's going to be a quandary because you have Wendzel now who can be optioned. Duran and Smith can be optioned.
Sure.
I don't know how they're going to make that happen, but having one guy only to play first base is going to be a big deal. But I'd imagine that Nathaniel will get some days at DH and maybe a couple of days off early on. So we'll see. But the Lorenzen thing's a decision. What to do with Jared Walsh, Wendzel, Duran is a decision too. So things are afoot. We could have a pretty newsy show next week.
Absolutely. And let me tell you what, this is the reason this team is a contender this year is they have got the depth at the upper level where they are sticking. Look, I know the pitching staff's got stuff that's coming, but it's not going to be here for another 60 days at least. Or, I think Scherzer's a little quicker. We might see him in a month.
Yeah.
Have you talked to him at all?
Yeah, I talked to him. He's going to be back in, I would say 5 weeks. He's going to start traveling with the team. So he's going to throw live batting practice at some point on the upcoming 10-game 3-city road trip. And then he says that once he throws live batting practice in spring training, he's ready for a game. So, I don't know if they'll knock out his first couple here in sim games, which would make some sense.
Sure.
I think that if you're going to send the guy out to an affiliate, at least make it worth his while. Let him pitch 3 or 4 innings or 4 or 5 innings, whatever. But
sure,
he knows his body better than anybody I've been around. He knows his stuff. He's going to know when he's ready, and when he is, he's in great spirits. I think he's ready to. I think he's ready to get out there and go.
Well, look, good things happening with the current World Series champs. They certainly look good. Other teams around the league, there's a couple of them. The Yankees are doing better than I thought they would this year. That's me personally. I don't like the Yankees, but the Astros, look, I'm the guy that this is early in the season, so we got to tap the brakes on that. They're struggling a little bit, but I also said I thought it was going to be a 2-race horse between the Rangers and Seattle, and the Astros would be a wild card team. That's kind of looking like that could be something, but the Astros are a team also that can get hot and go.
Yeah, the Astros can't score. They can pitch, so that helps. That helps cover a lot of blemishes, but they don't score a lot of runs. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Astros. Their bullpen hasn't been as good as they were probably thinking. They have the Framber Valdez thing, which there still hasn't been a definitive answer. He's on the 15-day IL. He could be transferred if it's worse, but you haven't heard a lot of news about that.
Wow.
So they're a different team. They have a different manager. We talked about this last week. A new manager. Not that they're reinventing the wheel there, but there's probably some subtle differences. That just they looked fine. They looked like they did last year. That lineup is Yordan Alvarez. My God, what a beast he is.
He's my sports hate. You hate the sports team that he just kills the Rangers.
Yeah.
And does it without flash or flare. He just goes up, and if you put a pitch in the right spot, he punishes it.
Right. He's a great hitter. That's just the bottom line. And
the home run hit the other night landed. Good God!
Yeah, they said it was 430. I don't believe that.
I swear to God, it looked like it almost hit that upper deck. Where it landed. Jeez.
Yeah. No. So, the Rangers are headed there first. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Night game, mid-afternoon, afternoon. I'm going to go down there, short, cheap trip, and then they'll go to Detroit, night game, 3 day games. Detroit early in the season plays a lot of day games because of the potential for bad weather. They got rained out today already, so and then it's off to Atlanta. So a big early season matchup of World Series contenders. So that'll be a fun series too. So stick with Rangers today. Stick with our podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. Subscribe to Rangers today, and
subscribe to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, right. So one other thing that happened right before we started. This is pretty funny. Jordan Montgomery has fired Scott Boras.
No kidding.
Yeah. Scott Boras is no longer representing Jordan Montgomery. So read into that what you will. I think you can read a lot into that one. It's interesting because, with both Blake Snell and Jordan Montgomery, they were with other agencies as recently as 2 or 3 years ago. And Boras came and poached them or lured them away, I'm sure, with promises of fortunes and, and 72 virgins and all kinds of things. So it didn't work out. I don't know, that this might tell you where Jordan Montgomery's head's at.
No, I'll tell you right now. Look at Jordan Montgomery and the contract he signed there. The Rangers probably do that if that was earlier. And they didn't already go out.
That happens like the first month of free agency, sure.
Yeah, well,
but I mean that deal wasn't there, and I just wonder. You wonder what was turned down.
Yep, I wonder if Lorenzen before they signed Lorenzen, after they signed Lorenzen, it was obvious they weren't going to go get Jordan Montgomery. But before they signed Lorenzen, I'm just wondering if Montgomery wasn't saying to Boras, "Look, give me something even shorter deal. I want to go back to Texas. I liked it there. Try to do it." Texas was putting something on the table because they wanted him back, but they weren't going to commit to 5 years. They weren't going to commit to 4 years. They don't do that normally. And
they do have luxury tax threshold. There's the TV uncertainty.
Exactly.
Which I don't buy that 100%. I buy the luxury tax thing more, because if you go over this next threshold, the penalty's steeper, but also it kind of puts you into territory you start losing draft picks. And so, there's just a lot going on, but it just very interesting that they have cut ties, and Jordan Montgomery is now represented by the Wasserman Group. I don't know. I don't want to chuckle, but it's kind of funny.
Well, I've always said this. I think Boras really does some things that are wrong. I have that. If I had a kid that was one of the top prospects in all of baseball, I really want Boras to negotiate. He does get the money in a lot of circumstances, but I do have to chuckle at that. That's funny.